Hey, welcome to Scooter's home garage. I'm here with my third generation Prius V, and my battery's starting to go. And not my hybrid battery, but the 12-volt battery. So this video is going to get into how to change that 12-volt battery, what batteries might be the best battery to buy, and hopefully you'll learn something. I certainly did as I went through this process. So here we go. Part of what we need to do is get to the battery, and in a Prius third generation, the battery is in the back corner of the vehicle, and that's the passenger side corner. So to get to that, we have to take carpet out, some of the coverings out, and then we'll expose the battery that way. So let's start by taking out the carpet. As simple as it gets. The second thing we need to do is take off this, or at least move it significantly, this covering. And it has a little latch. You lift the latch, opens up, and folds on itself, and then you fold it again. So that's all there is to moving that part of the cover. Now the battery's in this corner, so the next thing that we need to do is just take, literally just lifts out this little covering over the battery. We'll take that out. So now that I have that cleared out, I also need to take out this covering on the side that doesn't have the battery, but I need to take it out in order to get this black little compartment out. So we'll take that out now. So now we can take this black compartment out, and it simply pops right out. Really easy to do. Actually, some dirt in here, get that out. And just set that aside. Now that we took that black cover out, you can see we have access to the spare tire, the tools to change a tire. There's another black compartment in here. We can take that out. Just set that off to the side. And now we have left with us is just the black covering that covers the battery. But I just point out here, this is the main hybrid battery right in here. Obviously we're not touching that. We are taking care of the 12-volt battery. I have 140,000 miles on this Prius, so at some point I'll be taking care of that. But today is not the day, and I'm hoping that battery lasts for another 60,000 miles or so. Okay, so now we just have to take the covering of the battery off. It's super easy. You just lift it up, comes right out. All right, so the first thing that we need to begin to do is loosen the bracket that holds the battery in. So it's a simple 10 millimeter. There's a bolt here we need to pull out, and back here there is a nut that we have to take off of a J-bolt. So 10 millimeter. Take that out. Gosh, they went in there very good, to be honest. All right. So we'll take that out. And then we'll take this one off. And then we can move this to the back. Get it out of the way. The next step is we need to loosen the nuts on the terminals so we can get these terminals off. Again, it's just a 10 millimeter, very simple process here of just giving that a nice little loosen. And then this one is a little tighter because you have to get to it from the inside on the negative side here. We got just a small little area between the back of the car molding and the nut. Okay, so they're loose. Again, just a 10 millimeter. Okay, the next step is simply to wiggle off the terminals. They're loose, so we'll take the negative off. Move that out of the way. Oops, let's get that out of the way. Next, we'll take the positive off. This one's not pretty good, so. Alright, got that off. And just move that out of the way momentarily. Now that we have positive and negative off, the next thing we need to do is take out the vent tube. So we will pop that out of the side of the battery. And this vent tube is critical, so we want to make sure that that vent tube is protected and that we don't damage it by taking the battery out before we pop the vent tube out. Alright, let's take the battery out. Okay, so here's why I'm changing the battery. My battery is not dead yet, but I'm doing it from a preventive maintenance perspective because this battery is old. The way Toyota, this is the original battery with the car, the way Toyota puts the age on, it's right here, and you can see the way they do it is they tell you the days first. So it was on the 30th day, on the 11th month, so November 30th, and the year is the last two numbers, 2013. So November 30th, 2013 is when this battery was manufactured. So it is currently August of 2021. So this battery is coming up on 8 years old, and that's absolutely amazing, to be honest, that this original battery lasted 8 years. But it's time to get it out from a preventative point of view and get a new battery in there. The new battery I'm putting in is a Napa Legend Premium, and it's an AGM. These have to be AGM batteries because they're in the car, so God forbid there was a accident and the battery got damaged, it won't throw battery acid on people in the cab. So it's an AGM battery. I debated whether I was going to go with a Napa or AGM. Napa's got a 75-month warranty. The Toyota True Life, I think, is 82 or 84 months, but it was just so much cheaper, and it's rated well. It's made by the company that makes Deca batteries, so it's a decent battery. And just from a perspective of cost, you can see this just cost me $179. I still have the cord charge. I got to bring back the other battery. But for $179 versus about $250, I'm going to take a chance on the Napa. Next up, we're going to put the Napa battery into the compartment for the battery without banging my fingers too bad. There we go. So there's the battery. It's in there. It was manufactured last month, so pretty confident it's a good battery. Okay, now we will put on the bracket, and it just slips on. Hopefully, yep, and the holes line up, and we'll get it mounted down. We'll start with the little bolt that goes into the car, and hand tight, and then the nut that goes on the J bolt on the back. Spin that on. And again, these are 10 millimeter, and that's what we'll use to tighten these down. Okay, take that 10 millimeter here. Alright, I'm going to get my wrench and make sure that that's nice and tight. That's good and tight. That's not going to go anywhere. Next up, we're going to pop the covers off of the terminals. Obviously positive there, negative here. The next thing I'm going to do is put in the vent, which vents the battery. Make sure that's in nice and snug. And this vent is so important because, again, the battery is in the cabin of the vehicle, so without that vent that goes to the outside, it would be venting gases into the cabin where people are sitting. So this vent is important. Make sure you hook it back up. The next thing we need to do is put the terminals onto the battery. And I've always been taught you need to put the positive on first and then the negative, reducing spark and potential flame. So we'll put the positive on first. Just make sure it's on down on the stud good and snug, which it is-ish. Okay, and then we'll tighten that down again with that 10 millimeter. Okay, the next one is we got to do the negative terminal. So we'll get that terminal, get that on there, and again with this 10 millimeter, crank this down. Tight. Alright, so now the battery's all set. Hey, it's important to mention that, we've disconnected the power, so the the trip odometer is going to go bad, your radio settings might go bad. I'm not totally sure about the radio settings, but just be prepared. You're going to have to do a little work when you get back in the car to reset the dash as you'd like it. The next thing we need to do is simply put the cover over the battery, and there's clips here, here, and in the back. And just make sure the clips go in, and as simple as could be. Make sure that's still tight. Okay. The next thing we want to do is put these compartments back over the spare tire. First one is going to go right here. The next compartment goes right behind it. Alright. The next thing we do is we put this piece into the driver's side corner. That just lays in there. We do the same thing to above the battery, that little piece in there. And then we reach in. And that snaps back down. The last thing we do is we put the carpet back in. Backwards there. Carpet back in. Now we're done. Battery changed in our 2014 Generation 3 Prius V. Can't be much easier than that. Thanks.